I congratulate Amit and his team for organizing this very important CME. The topic is very important because we are facing an extreme challenge of unprecedented proportions. And it is very important for the specialty of physical medicine and rehabilitation, because when we look at the spectrum of manifestations as a result of coronavirus infection, there are many manifestations in which physical medicine and rehabilitation specialty can play a very important role. Second point I want to emphasize is that the spinal cord injury is a very important condition with which physical medicine and rehabilitation specialists deal day in and day out. So when it is a combination of the two, coronavirus infection in a person who is already suffering from spinal cord injury, this becomes a very devastating combination. And there has been a report by the World Health Organization which says that although COVID-19 has disrupted every aspect of life, but persons with spinal cord injury are among the hardest hit. The issues are multiple, primarily because persons with spinal cord injury suffer from different problems: weakness, loss of sensation, difficulty in controlling their micturition and defecation, impaired sensations, impaired thermoregulation, and depending upon the level of lesion, they may have respiratory impairments also. And over a period of time, when the condition becomes stable but chronic, they are prone to another set of complications. It may be deep vein thrombosis, heterotypic ossification, development of pressure sores, urinary tract infections, development of calculi, etc. So when the problems are so many, these get compounded when the person has coronavirus infection also. Now, the common symptoms of coronavirus are known to all because of so much of publicity, so much of media and other platforms which are spreading the information. And the main symptoms are aches and pains, headache, fever, sore throat, shortness of breath if the condition advances, there is cough, involvement of the gastrointestinal tract, fatigue, etc. Now, what is important in relation to spinal cord injury is that sometimes persons with spinal cord injuries have atypical presentations of COVID-19. And it is very important for people working in the PMR specialty to be aware of atypical presentations of COVID-19 in persons suffering from spinal cord injuries. Now, individuals with spinal cord injury may not present with the typical COVID-19 symptoms of fever, cough, and shortness of breath. And as a result of this, the diagnosis may be delayed with very serious consequences. And because of comorbidities, it is well known that the morbidity and mortality is high in the environment of COVID-19. Persons with spinal cord injury have sometimes comorbidities. These may be hypertension, these may be chronic kidney disease, diabetes mellitus, hypercholesterolemia, obesity, etc. They may also have coronary artery disease or rhythm disturbances. Want to say that fever is a common manifestation in COVID-19. Now, in persons with spinal cord injury, there may be impaired vasoconstriction and shivering. Shivering, as we all know, is mainly responsible for elevating the core temperature during fever. So if this is impaired, then persons with spinal cord injuries will not have shivering or as much shivering as a normal able-bodied individual would have. So depending upon the level of lesion, the rise in the temperature may be misleading in a person with spinal cord injury and COVID infection. Another important problem is respiratory dysfunction. And this, as we know, is a major cause of morbidity and mortality in persons with spinal injury. Now, this leads to increased risk of pulmonary infection and death in persons with spinal cord injury. Vital capacity may be as low as 1 to 2 liters in non-ventilated persons with high level of lesion, such as tetraplegia. And this leads to insufficient ventilation, collapse of the lungs, and dyspnea on exertion. and even dyspnea at rest. In addition, muscles of respiration are also weakened, leading to profound deleterious effects and difficulty in clearing the secretions. So, persons with spinal cord injury may require more often intubation and assisted respiration as compared to other people who are suffering from COVID 19, but they are not having spinal cord injuries. I'll just quote one study, which is a recent study published in the journal Spinal Cord. Persons with spinal cord injuries were found to have greater risk of ARDS, and recently in COVID 19, it has been found that approximately 90% incidence of ARDS in critical ill persons with COVID 19 and spinal cord injuries. Now, spinal cord injury is very important in the disability sector. The symbol of disability, when we look at the parking places reserved for persons with disabilities, is a person using the wheelchair. And this is also a part of the symbol or logo for Accessible India campaign. Now, people with spinal cord injuries have great challenge in accessing the healthcare facilities or rehabilitation services. And in the lockdown period, there was greatest disruption in providing the medical care and rehabilitation services to persons with spinal cord injuries. They were not able to continue with their therapy related services. They were not able to procure the assistive products, aids, and appliances. And the challenge is very much because of the need for disinfection of the assistive products, the need for prevention of coronavirus infection because of through repeated hand washing, use of sanitization, etc. And we are all aware that for a person with wheelchair, in order to be able to wash the hands properly and satisfactorily and frequently, the source of water supply, that is the tap, has to be at the level which is accessible to the person who is spinal cord injured. And this is a big challenge at many places. The levels of the taps and sources of water are not at the appropriate level. When construction is being done, very little attention is paid to the needs of persons with disabilities, and environment becomes a major barrier. Now, this year's the theme is for the Spinal Cord Injury Day 2020, stay well. Now, how do people with spinal cord injuries stay well in COVID related environment? They can stay well if they pay utmost attention to prevention of infection by observing the guidelines very strictly as notified by the health ministry. Maintaining social distance, it is a big challenge for persons with spinal cord injuries because many times they depend upon the services and assistance of the caregiver. So how does the person with spinal cord injury maintain social distance with the caregiver? It is a very big challenge. Both have to protect each other and also themselves. So social distance maintenance is a very big challenge. Provision of sanitizers, masks, and gloves is another challenge. It is not easily available to all persons with disabilities. The third important problem is use of the mask for personal protection. Now, many a times, people with spinal cord injuries are touching the assistive products. They are moving the wheelchairs by holding on to the rims of the wheelchair. They are touching the doors and all in order to have access or come out of a place. All these things require further hand washing. So if they are touching their mask, if they are touching their hands to different surfaces repeatedly, it becomes a very big challenge for them to maintain their own personal hygiene. And many of the spinal cord injured persons are using urinary catheters. So this is another challenge. They have to maintain disinfection. They have to sterilize the catheter. They have to also sterilize their own hands. They have to put on the gloves. And persons with higher level of the lesions always require assistance of a caregiver in order to catheterize them or to ensure that they are regularly turned in the bed every 2 hourly. So this is a big challenge. And for staying well, as is the theme, they have to prevent themselves. They have to screen themselves for any early symptoms or influenza-like illness symptoms. They have to maintain whatever level of activity is possible. If they reduce their level of activity, they are further compromised in terms of functional independence. They have to maintain their nutrition because otherwise, when the level of physical activity is low, they are in the lockdown within the home, they tend to put on weight. This further compounds their clinical condition
and mobility status. They have to pay attention to the comorbidities by regular medical treatment as prescribed for them, and periodic follow-ups are very essential. Now, to remain physically active, they have to be guided about the frequency of activity and exercises, the intensity, the type, time, and rate of progression. It is not true that persons with spinal cord injuries cannot remain active within the home environment. They can, but they have to modify many things. They will not be going to the hospitals and rehabilitation centers or the gym because transportation is severely curtailed. So within the home, they have to work out how best they can maintain their activities. And for that, lightweight dumbbells, stretchable bands, and other modifications and adaptations can be very useful. And a responsible family member also can assist them in performing exercises. So they have to find out time for the exercises. Exercises have to be of certain level of intensity. There are guidelines and recommendations for persons with spinal cord injuries by the American College of Sports Medicine and American Heart Association. Time does not permit to go into the details of all those things. And finally, there are several challenges. And in order to impart education and instructions to spinal cord injuries persons in the COVID-19 environment, when the physical contact is severely curtailed or not possible, at least for some more time, we have to depend on the technology. Teleconsultation, telerehabilitation, and telemedicine becomes very useful. And I will urge all the people in the rehabilitation professional to be very conversant with these techniques so that they can stay in touch with their patients and their patients can also seek their advice as and when required. The challenges are of other kinds also, and important among them is that if they have to seek medical consultation from other specialists, many a time other specialists are not very familiar with the management of spinal cord injured persons. For example, breathlessness in a person who is not having spinal cord injury is different from breathlessness in a person who is having spinal cord injury because their shifting, their transfer from the wheelchair to the bed to other interventions becomes a very big challenge. So simultaneous awareness and education is very important. And I would like to conclude by saying that this is a very good initiative by the Department of PMR at AIMS Gorakhpur, and I wish it all success. And as we proceed during the CME program, many more aspects will be touched. So this is the way I wanted to begin, and I look forward to deliberations and talks by the other experts. If there are any questions, I'll try to answer that. Thank you so much.